Hey, what do you mean? I expected much better growth. I mean, the market's at all-time highs right now, and you're not even telling me what the lost opportunity cost is, what the fees are, what the taxes are. And by the way, you're telling me all about average rates of return, but you're not sharing with me actual rates of return where that would give me a better decision-making model going forward. I'm over this. Hey, listen, let me ask you a question. With your financial planner, do you ever feel like you're just a cookie cutter another client where they're just kind of sending you a different software program on what to buy, but they're really not providing education? They're not listening to you outside of whatever they're investing. Like, for example, if you may want to buy real estate or alternative investments, they just don't care because it's not part of their agenda. Does that feel familiar to you? Today, I'm going to tell you what financial planners won't tell you. So listen, today we're going to talk about what financial planners won't tell you. And keep in mind, a financial planner is someone that has a license that offers you advice on how to position your dollars, and you pay them for that. Keep in mind now, the real goal and understanding is, how do they understand what your goals and objectives are, and can they help create that map that's going to get you from hello to yes, A to Z, with integrity, even if it doesn't serve their best interest. So listen, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not even a fiduciary, right? But I'm going to tell you what's important for you to understand, that yes, a financial planner has a place in your overall world, but they don't have the place. They should just be part of 4 or 5 people that help you make decisions when it comes to your money. There should be an insurance agent, there should be a financial planner, a trust officer, an accountant, and an estate attorney. And if you live in that space, your decisions will be based on logic, math, and science, not emotional timidity, and you'll be on the right path to make the right decision. So folks, like everything else that I share, this is in general terms, and you can always double check what I say, but let's just kind of get into this a little bit. Traditional advice, right? Cookie cutter approach advice that I like to call. The median US household spending is $63,000. The median US household income is $68,000. So there's a difference of approximately $5,000. And you'll hear buy term insurance and invest that difference in a 401k. It's almost like at a cocktail party, it sounds like a nursery rhyme. But this nursery rhyme has created billions of dollars for people that didn't fit this criteria, only for the people that were selling the products. You know, listen, according to Vanguard, and this goes back to 2020 stats, people that in the age group from 55 to 64, their average 401k balance was about $197,000, and then 65 plus was about $216,000. Now, we're going to talk about a word average here. And that's a key distinction, because in the language of average is where there's a lot of misdirection, especially in the financial services industry. So folks, let's get into what the difference between mean and median is when it comes to that 401k over 65 years old. The mean, which is basically the average of 65 plus year olds, what it's saying is their average 401k is worth $216,000, right? So let's say if there's 1,000 people, and of those 1,000, 3 of them have $10 million 401ks, but the rest of them have $10,000 401ks, that's where they're coming up with that number, and it's not really an accurate number. The more accurate number is the mean or the median number, because it represents the midpoint on the average person that has a 401k over age 65, and that number is more like 58,000. But I want to just do one more example so it kind of lands a little bit better. And we're going to talk about the average rate of return versus actual, okay? Now stay with me on this. If I had $100,000 today, and in year 1, it averaged 100%, it's worth $200,000. And then in year 2, if it went down 50%, it's worth $100,000. In year 3, if it went up 100%, it's $200,000. And in year 4, if it went down 50%, it's worth $100,000, right? And what that says is I started out with 100, 4 years later it was worth 100, but if I divide it by 4, my average rate of return is 25%. My actual rate of return is 0. Sometimes people buy funds based on average rates of return, not actual rates of return. So it's important that the education is there. Double check everything I'm saying and understand when you make decisions based on how you're going to purchase products, you know the difference between average and actual, and you know the difference between mean and median. So listen, check it out. Let me simplify what I just said. Basically, averages are a lie, okay? They skew the numbers for the outliers. And if your world is based on skewed numbers for outliers and you're making decisions when it comes to your money on that, then you're gonna miss the landing strip because your coordinates are gonna be all off. So I always get asked the question, Rob, especially when we sit down with somebody and we take them through a whole process, they'll say, hey, how come I wasn't told about this? And my first answer is because the guy or the gal that's handling your money probably leaves the office at 4 o'clock. And they definitely leave at 12 o'clock on Fridays. So when you have a team around you and they're really there to explain everything for you and really based on your goals and objectives, not them giving you a cookie cutter approach, that's how you begin to get educated. It's not just opening up a new account, purchasing funds, and then that's it. That's part of it. But you want to make sure that you're embracing in a full educational process with your power team that can help you make really good decisions. So listen, the question is the finance community incentivized to tell you the right thing no matter what, removing their own agenda? So let's get into what a fee-only planner is. A fee-only planner is going to take all your information, your financial data, they're going to ask you a bunch of different questions, your goals and objectives, and then they're going to create a plan. You're going to write them a check. They're going to walk away and there's no follow-up. Basically, it's almost like if somebody wrote you up a diet plan where they said, just read this book, but there was no accountability and there was no action steps for follow-up. So let's get into what a fee-based plan is. Think of A, where they write up a plan for you, and then you pay for that plan and then they walk away, except in this scenario, they don't walk away. You pay for the plan and then they sell you commissionable products or fee-based products. And in that scenario, it sounds a little bit like a double dip. I would definitely double check that and make sure that if you're involved in that space, you I dot and T cross, because you may be overpaying for something that you don't have to. And by the way, everybody I just talked about is great, and if they're in line with what your goals and objectives are and you guys are on the same page, that's awesome. But let's get into what an asset manager is. It could be a fiduciary, it could be somebody with a Series 7, and what they do is they take on assets and they manage the money, right? And then they get paid based on the balance of what that account's worth. So if the account's worth $1 million, they'll make anywhere between, a half up to 1%. Just use that as an approximate. Now, if you go to them and say, hey, listen, I want to take 300, and I'm speaking in hypothetical terms, once again, I'm not a fiduciary, but you say, listen, I want to take $300,000 out because I found this real estate property over here. Well, remember, this person, instead of getting paid on $1 million in assets, now they're getting paid on 700. And then the real question is, do they have your best interest if that's something that you want to do? Something that you have to really think about. That's why you always have to have a power team, take a bunch of different opinions that sit and fit with your core values so the decision making is uniform and everybody's on the same page for the benefit of your thinking. So listen, the question is the finance community, are they really looking out for your best interest? And I'm not here to say if they are or if they're not. What I am here to say is this, though. It's so important to get to know who your fiduciary is, who your financial planner is, and spend time, not only before you open the account, but also when it comes to how is it going to be monitored and measured? What's the relationship look like? What are you guys going to talk about on a quarterly basis? And it's not just about the portfolio. It's really about who you are, what you want to do with your money, and where you see yourself 5, 10, and 20 years from now. And that's what the main takeaway that I want you to take from this is: be a critical thinker, I dot and T cross, and get to know your planners as best as you possibly can. So listen, we just reviewed financial planners and if they're incentivized or not, right? But in the world of money, there's alternative investments all over the place. I'm not suggesting that you buy an MLP or that you purchase real estate or put money into small business startups or strategies. What I am saying is there's a lot of wealthy people that do that as they have money under management and as they do other things with their money, because in this space, when you're in the world of alternatives plus traditional and you have a team around you, really good decisions can be made and it provides protection from the things that you can't control. So listen, if this interests you in any way, shape, or form, if you really found value in this video, because every single day we're bringing as much information and content as we can, go ahead and click the link below. My team or myself will reach out to you and take you through our initial conversation and get to know you a little bit better to see what your goals and objectives are and see if there's a way forward. And listen, folks, thank you so much for checking out the video today. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and check out this video over here.